Okay, Robert, the fall flop of real estate, this epic crash and fail of real estate is coming up.
Well, what fall are you talking about? The fall of next year, the fall of this year? What are you talking about?
Oh, hey, maybe your charts will give us a better understanding of that. So in this episode of Real Estate Chat with
Robert Eid.
and John Perez, we're going to find out what's going to happen this year, fall, and we're going to project or try to project a year out and see what's going on with real estate because there's a lot of things happening, a lot of different factors that are affecting the marketplace. In a few days, well, no, more than a few days from now, about a week or so, the Bank of Canada will announce the next interest rate movement. And so are consumers fearful? Will there be a flop? Are things going to go along just fine? Are we just talking a whole bunch of nonsense? We're going to find out. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at Robert's charts here first so we can talk about what he projects for how August will finish off.
Okay. In a few days, the Toronto Real Estate Board will summarize the month of August and come up with some basic metrics, which I'm guessing at on the bottom third of this slide. And I'm going to guess that they will say that we've had 11,000. I didn't change it from the middle of the month, 111 new listings. However, of those, 3666 will be relists, meaning it's the same house with the same broker. They canceled one listing because one listing strategy failed and put it back on the market exactly the next day at a different price and terms. And the real estate board cannot quite decide whether that's a new listing or a rerun. And so they call it a relist and they put out a separate but hidden whole chart on it showing each district broken all down, but they never publicized it. And then the sales, we're going to guess at 55, but it's probably going to be more like 55. And so then we take my estimation of how many of these terminates that we had, 5,700, subtracting the ones that are doubled off, 3666, and we get around 2,000, which comes very darn close, only about 400 or 500 away from what I'm seeing today as the inventory in August, 15.6, 15.5, 15.7. So if we try and answer the question that everybody wants to know, what will things be like in a year or in 2 years? We drag out our dear old chart that I used for 2023 that failed because 2023 had a blip in it when everybody misinterpreted what was being said by the Bank of Canada and the Federal Reserve and thought that interest rates were not going to continue to go up, that they were going to pause, they were going to pivot, and they were going to go down. But they were surprised. So I'm going to estimate that the August sale price, average Toronto Real Estate Board, went down by 1.25% from July. And so that's the 15th month in a row when we haven't had double-digit increases in price. And our price is now about 82.5, 82.75 of the peak. And so we're off the peak by about 17%. We've been worse than that already recently in the middle of the winter. And, we've been better than that. And that's why there was a peak and now we're not. So if we continue on at 1% off per month, it goes down for December of 2024 to around $940,000, which is 70% of the peak, 30% off the peak. And that's about as bad as we've ever said it's going to be. Drop off from the peak 30%.
Well, you know what, Robert, before you go on, I know some of you who are watching Real Estate Chat have liked and subscribed to us. And if you, of course, don't like what you hear, just dislike it. Make sure you put into the comments whether you like it or not and what you think about it. But here's the thing. My eyes lit up when I saw this figure because, I mean, for some of you watching this, some of you are investors, some of you are looking to buy and enter the market. If you're looking to sell and right now you have your property listed on the market and you're having a bit of a challenge, this would be a terrifying thing to happen. But keep in mind, we've got a couple of Bank of Canada announcements coming up amidst the other issues that are happening in the marketplace, which is lack of inventory used to be the issue. Inventory is now slowly starting to pick up. And if sales don't keep up with that, there's going to be issues there in terms of supply demand balances and whatnot. But Robert, what would cause your projection to come true, where month after month of subsequent losses, we'd see such a price at around next year in the 950s to 940s by next year, December?
Well, again, this sounds like a lot, but it's really taking us from -17 to -29%, which again sounds like a lot. It's 1% a month. Will the market go straight down 1%? No. But will it go up by 1% straight line for a year? No. So this is the worst case scenario, 30% off the peak, which would mean that our prices would be about the same as they were in July of 2020. Right now, our prices are about the same as they were in August 21. So we've been there before. And I think the next one we look at is, 2 from now, is the 55. Okay, so this is where we're trying to guess which market we're emulating. And we're the red with the white dots. And we had a gain in the blip, and now we've fallen back down. And I'm going to say that we are on pattern exactly if we're following the global financial crisis, which is slightly above it in the purple with the blue dots, which shows a down and then an up again. So since we're not there, then we're following another one of these patterns. And I think we're back to the pattern that I predicted we were using, which is the 1990 pattern, which is why it goes so far out, 7 years into the future, but it never really breaks below 70% off the peak. This is the last 5 booms with a coincident 100% for the peak of the boom, and then following the prices a few months before and a few months after that.
History repeats itself. And let's go to this one, which we just hopped over. But
we hopped over. Okay, again, fantastic news. We're going to report, if things go down by 1.25%, the highest price ever for August in the history of the Toronto Real Estate Board. And it's up 2.31% from the year before. And that seems to be all they talk about is what was it a year ago? And what was it I'm going to say from January, we're up 6.33. And we're off, we're 17%, as we said, it's 82.75% of the peak. So it's following a pattern, which we'll look at more in depth when we come around to the real results. But if we right in guessing that the estimated change will be minus 1.25, which is seasonally typical of the change from July to August, then this is where we'll see another top month ever for August. But you won't.
Well, that's amazing.
Twice.
That's amazing for the time being, and it may not lead to the fall flop that the real estate haters are looking for. And in fact, we're going to see that come. But if your projections prove accurate, then at some point between now and next year, we're going to see average prices dip below, what is this, to 2021 levels, 2022 levels, and sit at the 950s. Again, we've got to look at different factors as to what will lead to that.
Well, if interest rates become prohibitively expensive, if the investor component of the market decides they're not going to buy anymore, they're just going to sell what they have that's underwater a little bit. We talked about the 5 categories: investors who are underwater, if they sold; investors who are in the money, if they sold or didn't, but the investment is carrying itself; last time sellers, trade up buyers, and then first time buyers. So all of these people are apprehensive. And that's
so what if we look at the opposite of this, Robert? And of course, there's always going to be 2 sides of this, but what if we say there's going to be another 6-7%, which the typical year-to-year average appreciation in price? What if prices go up by 7%? What would be the reasons to contribute to prices going upwards for those who have a more, I guess, lofty view of where real estate prices might go in the next year?
Well, prices going up, we'd have to have supply continue to contract. So you don't have 15,000 units for sale at any one time. You've got 10, and you've got the same 5,000, 6,000 people who want to buy every month. And so that lack of something to buy will cause those people who want to buy, no matter whether it's at 5% or 6% or 7% interest, to pay more. And so that'll push prices up. But that doesn't seem to be what's happening.
Well, there you go. So if you're watching this and you're on the fence for your move, and if your move is 2023 to 2024, those are the factors to consider. right? Why will prices go up or why will prices go down? Robert's tracking the inventory for us, and inventory is creeping up to where it used to be. And as supply increases, if demand remains the same, supply increases, price goes down. If supply increases, demand increases along with it. It should be stable, but now we've got to factor in the costs, which is the interest rates, which is Bank of Canada. So Bank of Canada raises rates while everything else remains equal. Prices would still go down because of the fact that it costs more money to borrow. So let's go back to your charts, Robert, and
Okay. Again, we don't want to be negative. We don't want to be negative because people must buy in order for there to be any kind of a market. If there are no buyers, there is no nothing. And that's what happened when the lockdown happened. That even though
we want to
cheap,
be realistic and transparent and show
exactly,
show
because
everybody
these
where
are general charts of what the whole market performance is doing. But nobody's fits into the market performance. Nobody's idea of what they want to buy fits into that. It's just the environment in which you are swimming. That
exactly.
will it be
And
easier or harder for you to do what you want to do with your one individual home and your one
exactly.
individual purchase?
Yeah, and at this point too, I mean, I'm hearing different things from our hallmarkers at the office, our realtors at the office. Some of our agents are having multiple offers still happening. Some of them are some of their listings are sitting a bit longer on the market. Some have bought and are kind of in a position where they haven't sold the property that they're supposed to sell when they bought. So depending on what kind of a move you're doing, you've got to consult with your realtor and make sure that you are positioned properly and navigating the market strategically, right? Because some of you may be in the midst of a move and need to be in that move. Make sure you know whether to buy or sell first. Make sure you know, which we'll talk about in a future episode. Make sure you know whether holding overnight is an effective strategy, or do you go right into the price that you want. Let's move on to your chart here, talking about sales.
Okay, with sales, this is the same as it was in the middle of the month. This is showing between 55 and 5,600. So we're having a market that's 35% off the 10-year average. So that's not average, it's under average. So that's all there is there.
And inventory.
And inventory creeping up. We're watching it. It's above the 10-year average, so it's normal. So we're getting 35% under in sales and average number of inventory. So there's going to be a price adjustment because either you wait or you drop your price in order to be the next one to sell.
And when price drops start to happen, what happens then? If everybody starts to go that route?
Well, if price drops attract buyers, then people will follow that trend. If price drops are so low that nobody is enticed to want to match that price, then they'll withdraw from the market and there'll be fewer inventory. And so then the balance will return again. What's happening right now is that the listings that must be sold, absolutely serious sell, that they're underpricing their property by 15, 25% and saying no offers for a period of time. And so that is concentrating attention on those houses. That's why there are multiple offers on some properties, because they listed it so darn low. They got 30 offers on it. Now, only 2 of those offers are any good that will ever amount to anything, but they still got 30 offers, and that's what you see in the newspaper. So it's this fight between asking price, selling price, strategy, and the buyers one day you're just gonna go, I'm sick of that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, a lot of different dynamics. Make sure you know how you're strategizing your next move, your sale, your purchase. So let's finish off with this cumulative CPI, because if you watch past episodes of Real Estate Chat, you hear Robert talking about, yes, inflation has decreased, but what, Robert?
Well, if we use the Bank of Canada's inflation calculator and use CPI, which is the most modest measure of increases in price or in devaluation of the currency, and we take it to where 100 equals the year 2018 is at 100. So 2 years later, in the lockdown, we were at 102%. So 2 years, 2% up, 1% a year. Now the next year, the CPI moved to 105. The next year, it moved to 100 nearly 14. And then year to date, we're at 100 nearly 18. So 18% more than it was 5 years ago. Is that what you're hearing? 3.5%? Is that what it means to you? No, but that's what it means. Your purchasing power is diminished by 18% from 5 years ago. And most people would agree that it seems to them that everything costs at least 20% below, since this is the most modest measure of price appreciation slash currency devaluation purchasing power.
And that's something that we got to keep an eye on, because amidst all of the real estate stuff that's going on, you've also got to pay your other bills. And so make sure you like, subscribe, follow us, dislike if you dislike, put your comments in, ask Robert and I your questions on Real Estate Chat, talk about future episodes you'd like to see. Ask questions and give us feedback about what you find in real estate. And in the meantime, we hope you found this episode informative. We'll see you on our next Real Estate Chat. Bye for now.
Bye for now.